The history of yoga. Yoga is essentially a spiritual discipline based on an extremely subtle science, which focuses on bringing harmony between mind and body. It is an art and sense of healthy living. The word yoga is derived from the Sanskrit root yuj, meaning to join or to yoke or to unite. As per yogic scriptures, the practice of yoga leads to the union of individual consciousness with that of the universal consciousness, indicating a perfect harmony between the mind and body, man and nature. According to modern scientists, everything in the universe is just a manifestation of the same quantum firmament. One who experiences this oneness of existence is said to be in yoga, and is termed as a yogi, having attained to a state of freedom referred to as mukti, nirvana or moksha. Thus the aim of yoga is self-realization, to overcome all kinds of sufferings leading to the state of liberation, moksha, or freedom, kaivalya. Living with freedom in all walks of life, health and harmony shall be the main objectives of yoga practice. Yoga also refers to an inner science comprising of a variety of methods through which human beings can realize this union and achieve mastery over their destiny. Yoga, being widely considered as an immortal cultural outcome of India's Saraswati Valley civilization, dating back to 2700 BC, has proved itself catering to both material and spiritual upliftment of humanity. Basic humane values are the very identity of yoga sadhana. The practice of yoga is believed to have started with the very dawn of civilization. The science of yoga has its origin thousands of years ago, long before the first religions or belief systems were born. In the yogic law, Shiva is seen as the first yogi or Adiyogi, and the first guru or Adi Guru. Several thousand years ago, on the banks of the Lake Kantasaravar in the Himalayas, Adiyogi poured his profound knowledge into the legendary Saptarishis or seven sages. The sages carried this powerful yogic science to different parts of the world, including Asia, the Middle East, Northern Africa, and South America. Interestingly, modern scholars have noted and marveled at the close parallels found between ancient cultures across the globe. However, it was in India that the yogic system found its fullest expression. Agastya, the Saptarishi who travelled across the Indian subcontinent, crafted this culture around a core yogic way of life. Historical evidences of the existence of yoga were seen in the pre-Vedic period, 2700 BC, and thereafter till Patanjali's period. The main sources, from which we get the information about yoga practices and the related literature during this period, are available in Vedas, 4, Upanishads 108, Smritis, teachings of Buddhism, Jainism, Panini, epics, 2, Puranas, 18, etc. 1. Pre-Vedic period, before 1500 BCE. The earliest known references to practices resembling yoga can be found in the ancient Indus Valley civilization, which existed around 3300 to 1300 BCE. Archaeological findings show figures in seated meditation poses and other yogic-like postures. However, the precise nature and purpose of these practices are still debated among scholars. 2. Vedic period, 1500 to 500 BCE. The Vedas, ancient sacred texts of India, contain hymns and rituals that demonstrate an early form of spiritual practice. These practices involved rituals, sacrifices, and chants that aimed to establish a connection between the individual and the divine forces. 3. Upanishadic period, 800 to 200 BCE. The Upanishads, a collection of philosophical texts, explored the nature of reality, the self, and the ultimate truth. Concepts like Brahman, the ultimate reality, and Atman, the individual soul, laid the groundwork for later yogic philosophy. 4. Pre-classical yoga, 500 to 200 BCE. During this period, various schools of thought developed ideas and practices that would contribute to the formation of yoga as a systematic practice. The earliest known systematic presentation of yoga can be found in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Patanjali's work, likely compiled around the 2nd century BCE, laid out the foundation for classical yoga philosophy and introduced the Eightfold Path, Ashtanga Yoga, as a guide to self-realization and spiritual liberation. 5. Classical Yoga, 200 BCE to 800 AD. The classical period of yoga saw the development of various schools and practices. Tentatively, the period between 500 BC to 800 AD is considered as the classical period, which is also considered as the most fertile and prominent period in the history and development of yoga. During this period, Commentaries of Vyasa on Yoga Sutras and Bhagavad Gita etc. came into existence. This period can be mainly dedicated to two great religious teachers of India, Mahavira and Buddha. The concept of five great vows, Pancha Mahavrata by Mahavira and Ashtamarga or Eightfold Path by Buddha, can be well considered as early nature of yoga sadhana. We find its more explicit explanation in Bhagavad Gita, a part of the Indian epic Mahabharata, discuss the concepts of devotion, selfless action, and the importance of finding one's dharma, life purpose. It has elaborately presented the concept of Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga. These three types of yoga are still the highest example of human wisdom and even today people find peace by following the methods as shown in Gita. Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, besides containing various aspects of yoga, is mainly identified with Eightfold Path of Yoga. 6. Medieval and post-medieval period, 800 AD to 1700 AD. The very important commentary on Yoga Sutra by Vyasa was also written. During this very period the aspect of mind was given importance and it was clearly brought out through yoga sadhana. Mind and body both can be brought under control to experience equanimity. The period between 800 AD to 1700 AD has been recognized as the post-classical period wherein the teachings of great Acharyatrayas Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhavacharya were prominent during this period. The teachings of Shoradasa, Tulasiddasa, Purandadasa, Mirabai were the great contributors during this period. The Natha yogis of Hatha Yoga tradition like Matsyendranath, Gokshanatha, Koranjinatha, Swamaram Suri, Garanda, Srinivasa Bhatt are some of the great personalities who popularized the Hatha Yoga practices during this period. Yoga continued to evolve during this period with the emergence of various schools and practices. Hatha Yoga, which emphasizes physical postures, breath control, and purification techniques, gained prominence during this time. Texts like the Hatha Yoga Pradipika and the Garanda Samhita offered instructions for these practices. 7. Modern period, late 19th century, present. The period between 1800 to 1900 AD is considered as modern period in which the great Yogacharyas Ramana Maharshi, Ramakrishna Paramhans, Paramhans Yogananda, Vivekananda etc. have contributed for the development of Raja Yoga. This was the period when Vedanta, Bhakti Yoga, Natha Yoga or Hatha Yoga flourished. The Shaidanga Yoga of Gorakshashatakam, Chaturanga Yoga of Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Satanga Yoga of Garanda Samhita, were the main tenets of Hatha Yoga. Now in the contemporary times, everybody has conviction about yoga practices towards the preservation, maintenance and promotion of health. Yoga has spread all over the world by the teachings of great personalities like Swami Shivananda, Sri T. Krishnamacharya, Swami Kuvalayananda, Sri Yogendra, Swami Rama, Sri Aurobindo, Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, Acharya Rajneesh, Pattabhi Jois, BKS Iyengar, Swami Satyananda Saraswati and the like. Yoga gained renewed interest in the late 19th and early 20th centuries due to efforts to preserve and revive traditional Indian practices. Swami Vivekananda's teachings at the Parliament of the World's Religions in 1893 introduced yoga to the Western world. The 20th century saw the popularization of yoga by figures like Paramahansa Yogananda, BKS Iyengar, and Pattabhi Jois, who introduced various yoga styles to a global audience. Seals and fossil. The number of seals and fossil remains of India's Saraswati Valley civilization with yogic motifs and figures performing yoga sadhana suggest the presence of yoga in ancient India. The phallic symbols, seals of idols of Mother Goddess are suggestive of Tantra yoga. Presence of yoga is available in folk traditions, Indus Valley civilization, Vedic and Upanishadic heritage, Buddhist and Jain traditions, darshanas, epics of Mahabharata and Ramayana, theistic traditions of Shaivas, Vaishnavas, and Tantric traditions. In addition, there was a primordial or pure yoga which has been manifested in mystical traditions of South Asia. Conclusion. Yoga works on the level of one's body, mind, emotion and energy. This has given rise to four broad classifications of yoga: Karma Yoga, where we utilize the body; Bhakti Yoga, where we utilize the emotions; Jnana Yoga, where we utilize the mind and intellect; and Kriya Yoga, where we utilize the energy. Each system of yoga we practice would fall within the gamut of one or more of these categories. Every individual is a unique combination of these four factors. All the ancient commentaries on yoga have stressed that it is essential to work under the direction of a guru. The reason being that only a guru can mix the appropriate combination of the four fundamental paths, as is necessary for each seeker. Yoga education. Traditionally, yoga education was imparted by knowledgeable, experienced, and wise persons in the families, comparable with the education imparted in convents in the West, and then by the seers, rishis/munis/acharyas, in ashramas, compared with monasteries. Yoga education, on the other hand, aims at taking care of the individual, the being. It is presumed that a good, balanced, integrated, truthful, clean, transparent person will be more useful to oneself, family, society, nation, nature and humanity at large. Yoga education is being-oriented. Details of working with being-oriented aspect have been outlined in various living traditions and texts, and the method contributing to this important field is known as yoga. Thanks for watching.